seems impossible, but there's nobody else I want by my side to stand here with me to take this fight through the rise and fall. With our fearless hearts, we could beat the odds, and we could live for 1,000 years. We could be legends. If we all go down, if our time is now, we could let everyone know we were here. We could be legends. We could live forever.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to FPL today, FPL Q&A for Game Week 8, and I've actually managed to get another episode or live stream up before a week has gone past, which is quite good for me, so I think a round of applause for me. What's up, everyone? How are you all doing? Hope you're all doing really well. I'm just waiting for my iPad to catch up so I know if this stream has actually gone live. There we go. Just hear my voice, and we've got the chat ready. So how is everybody doing? Hi, Thomas McCarthy. Glad to see a admin here in the chat. Mr. Jacob Limpar Lance, Innocent Munemo, Henif Kamur straight in with a question, as well as Shawnee Boy 2286. No admin. You know what? I'm deciding I'm just going to leave the admin alone now. You all know about all the stuff. You all know where it is. So let's get straight into some questions, and hopefully I'm planning to get another FPL Q&A out before the game week starts, so fingers crossed for that. So first question, we've got Henmanth Kumar: is Rashford a good choice to replace Firmino in my team? I'm going to try and go a little bit more in depth with some of the questions today. So the first question is a Rashford or Firmino, and this is for Henmanth Kumar. So if we have a look, if I bring up, I know I've got it here somewhere. I set it all up ready, all my stats, and yeah, I've lost it already. Well done, JNO. Well done. So we are looking at Rashford and Firmino. So we've got Rashford on 7 appearances out of 7, which is a good sign, and Firmino 7 appearances out of 7. So we've got starters out of both options there. As far as total attempts on goal go, we've got 19 attempts to Firmino's 15. As far as from inside the box, Firmino's had about half of his chances from inside, 8, and Rashford has had 14. So Rashford's got more attempts and a lot more inside the box. Big chances is equal at 2 apiece, and on target we've got 8 on target to 5 on target. So Rashford is actually beating him in all the important stats for a striker. So as long as Rashford does continue to start games, he is probably a better option. However, I believe Rashford has come on as a substitute for some of these appearances. As far as minutes played, Rashford's only got 472 minutes to Firmino's 476, so the actual playing time is minimal difference. So the only difference maker there would be if Liverpool and have a lot easier fixtures than Man United. And if we actually have a look at it, Liverpool probably do have easier fixtures. They've both got each other next game week. Liverpool then have Spurs, while Man United have Huddersfield. But then Man United have Spurs and Liverpool have Huddersfield. And then Liverpool have West Ham and Southampton, which is much easier than Chelsea. And then Man United do have Newcastle. So, you know what? Apart from the fact that Liverpool play well against tough opponents, We don't know what this Man United side is like when it gets tested, so I might maybe stick with Firmino at first. Maybe. I don't know. That's a tough one. Rashford's got all the stats, though, to beat Firmino as far as a striker goes. So maybe it might be worth taking a punt on Rashford. And I'm already well behind in the questions. Great. Another Hoops. Hi, how you doing, man? So next question, we got Shawnee Boy. Who to captain, Lukaku, Kane or Jesus? I mean, if we look at the fixtures then, Spurs have Bournemouth at home. That's a good fixture. We then got Lukaku, who has Liverpool, and we have Jesus, who has Stoke at home. So I'd look at Jesus or Kane, both very, very good this season so far. Kane, of course, has the most attempts on goal out of anyone in the Premier League at 44. Jesus only 17. So more likely, actually big chances wise, they're equal at 7 apiece, however. So that means Kane's more likely to take shots from distance. On target, Jesus has had less shots on target, but conversion rate is very good for Jesus, especially compared to Kane's. I'd probably still stick with Harry Kane, though, personally. I fancy Harry Kane against Bournemouth. Bournemouth's defence has looked weak at times. Stoke have had some weak moments, like they did against Chelsea, but they've also had their pretty strong performances defensively as well. So I think I'd go with Harry Kane. Right, all good? How are you? Thank you, mister. I'm good. Hope you're good as well. Otamendi, Azpilicueta or Alonso from Max Shretin. Considering yellow cards, not price. Difficult one. I have no idea off the top of my head what yellow cards are on. So let's have a look. Okay, so Otamendi and Alonso 3 apiece. And Azpilicueta. And by the way, shout out to Padful if he's in the stream. I've seen you tweeting out my stream, so thank you very much. If you want to help get this stream out there, feel free to tweet it out as well. Get more people in the chat, get more questions, and get more opinions. I can't find Azpilicueta. What's Azpilicueta on? Well, if he's that low, it means he's nowhere. There's Azpilicueta. 1 yellow card. So Azpilicueta has less yellow cards. Azpilicueta also has done quite well assisting, but that's to Morata, and Morata's not there anymore. Alonso's disappointed a lot of people, and Man City, we know, have the fixtures. So, do Chelsea have decent fixtures? Chelsea have decent fixtures as well, though. So it might be worth holding on to Alonso just to see what he can do. Crystal Palace next. We know Crystal Palace have been conceding. Watford and Bournemouth. They do have Man United, but then it's West Brom. I'd say if you have a Chelsea defender, stick with them for now. But Otamendi is also a good shout. Courtois, good for Chelsea cover. Is there enough money for any of their nailed defenders? Would I go Courtois? I don't know. I'm always a proponent of going with the cheaper keepers. So if we actually look at transfers and goalkeepers. I mean, he would cover your Chelsea defence, but Chelsea's defence aren't, for instance, doing better than Man United's. Arsenal's, and Courtois will cost you 5.5, but so would Czech. There's probably better options in both teams, I reckon. And then I personally would be looking at, if you're looking to transfer goalkeepers, although at this stage I think your money might be spent better elsewhere. Fabianski's been doing well for himself at 4.5, and so has Losel. I think that's how you say it. But if you're looking at premium goalkeepers, De Gea is always near the top of the league when it comes to the end of the season as far as goalkeepers scoring points. So definitely consider De Gea if you're looking for a premium price goalkeeper. Okay, which two from Hazard, Salah or Eric? Hazard, Salah or Ericsson. There we go. Sorry, my brain had to catch up then. Alright, so there's 2 major areas we want to look at as far as midfielders are concerned, which is a bit different than strikers, where I mainly look at goal threat. So if we focus on chances created and then attempts on goal. So chances created, out of those three, top is Hazard, Salah or Eriksen. Well, Hazard's hardly been playing, so Eriksen's going to be top as far as chances created with 16, compared to Salah's 8. So Eriksen's definitely better for creating chances. As far as goal threat goes, we have Salah with 24 attempts to Eriksen's 20. So Eriksen's not too far behind Salah. And then if we go to actual fixtures, Liverpool have easier fixtures than Spurs, but Eriksen's stats on both creating chances and goal threat are quite impressive. So I'd maybe go Eriksen. I personally don't like looking at... I don't like looking at players that haven't played much of the season yet. I want them to get match sharp yet. So players like Sanchez and Hazard, because they haven't been playing, I wouldn't necessarily go for them right now. But of course, Hazard would be probably is a better differential now than he will be later on in the season when more people get him in. 32 people watching. That's quite good for so early on in the stream. I think that might be partly down to Padfall's shout out. So any more shout outs on Twitter would be much appreciated. We have some answers to Russ Young's question as well. Ben Davis has apparently just pulled up in the Wales game, according to Max. Hopefully that's not the case, because I've planned out a whole My Team episode to record just after this stream, and Ben Davis and defenders aren't in my thinking as far as transfers are concerned. So that may put a spanner in the works of my team. When will Aguero be back? I don't think he's got a set date, but I think rumours were he'd be out for about a month. Let's have a quick check. Yeah, there's no known return date. So who knows, to be honest. I know that's not the answer you want, but it's the only answer I've got. I'm looking for a budget midfielder to replace Atsu. Okay, so back to midfielders. The cheapest midfielder that has been getting attempts on goal is Choupo-Moting and Richarlison. And I think, I know I've seen questions about this somewhere else as well. Both are on 24 attempts on goal. Sorry, that's a lie. Choupo-Moting's on 24, Richarlison's on 23. Both have 18 shots inside the box. Richarlison has more big chances, however, and Richarlison has scored one more goal. I believe Richarlison also beats him for assists, although I'm not 100% sure on that just yet. Choupo-Moting's had more shots on target, however, and their minutes per chance there's very little difference in it, 23 to 24 to Choupo-Moting. Shot accuracy, Choupo-Moting wins as well, but goal conversion, Richarlison wins. Choupo-Moting is 0.5 million cheaper, however. Minutes played, Richarlison's had more minutes. Also more touches in the penalty area. So as far as goal threat goes, Richarlison's winning out. And as far as creating chances goes, I'm not sure either really features that high. Richarlison looks like he features before any Stoke player. Richarlison creating 10 chances for his teammates, whereas Choupo-Moting, if I can find him, has created 6. So I think Richarlison just wins out, but he is slightly more expensive. So if you need to save that cash somewhere, then maybe look at Richarlison. As far as other budget midfielder options, I mean, Shaqiri is creating chances, but you've got to rely on Stoke forwards to put those chances away. Grosh, of course, is doing quite well at Brighton Hove Albion. Aaron Moy at Huddersfield is a cheap option at 5.7 million. Robbie Brady has kind of dropped off on chances created compared to where he was game week 3 or 4. But Robbie Brady is still creating chances as well. So those are some choices at cheap midfielder. And as far as goal threat goes, Redmond always seems to have good goal threat, but not very good conversion. Goal conversion at 0. Thomas Ince, goal conversion at 0, but otherwise the underlying stats are there. Then you go all the way down to Xhaka for attempts on goal. He's had 16 attempts, but only 2 inside the box. Ramsey with 15 attempts, 10 inside, but that's up to 7 million spend. Shaqiri's not doing too bad for attempts, 14, but only 2 inside the box. Richie with 13, 3 inside. Chalobah, 12 attempts, 5 inside, but of course he is injured right now. But when he comes back, if he can keep that up, he looked pretty good just before he got injured. So those are the kind of the players I'd look at for cheap midfielders. Should I keep Morata even if he doesn't start next week? I wouldn't keep him because your strikers are a very important part of your side. And I think if you kept him when you could have, say, brought in Jesus, it could backfire. Now, Morata could come back earlier than thought. And Morata is definitely a good pick, but I think you'd probably be better off transferring. And then if you want Morata, transfer back. I know that's 2 transfers that you could have spent elsewhere. So it depends how your team is built and if you really need to make that transfer. If you really need to make a transfer elsewhere, then maybe consider making the transfer elsewhere. Sorry, I'm about to just put my headphones into my laptop because right now I can't hear anything from my laptop. And I don't want to miss anything if someone does tweet out or anything like that. So if you wonder why the earpiece is in, that is why. And we'll move on to the next question. Hey JNO, good job you're doing here. Thank you, Eddie Gooner. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Jokes, he's fine. Max, what is it with you lot trolling me? And it took me so long to read joke, he's fine. Don't do that. Ben Davies may be my Tom Heaton of this year if he carries on with his current form. Chaos is in the chat. Hey Chaos, how you doing? Oh, were you ill? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. What did you have? Hopefully it was nothing too serious. And if you don't want to say, you don't have to say, of course. Davies is up and running again. I brought in Davies from Southampton for Atsu. He has good fit. Davies has looked good and he is starting a lot. I just don't like the fact that Southampton seem to fail to convert their chances. So I've stayed away from Southampton because they burned me at the start of the season. Ajoy Ramanan, are you wildcarding? I've already wildcarded, so I can't wildcard, unfortunately. I wildcarded in game week 4, game week 3 to 4. Carroll and Sermon versus Loftus, and Carroll versus Sermon and Loftus. Wow. Loaded question there. So you want to know which 2 to go out of those 3. I don't know. I'd say off the top of my head, Crystal Palace have not been scoring, so I wouldn't go Loftus-Cheek. So I'd go Carroll and Sermon purely because I have no faith in that Crystal Palace side at the moment. Herman Sarja, how are you doing? How do you think Arsenal's defence will do without Mustafi? Can they get a clean sheet? I think they're definitely capable of getting a clean sheet. Arsenal are playing in the next fixture Watford and then Everton and Swansea. So I think there's some clean sheets in those fixtures. It all depends on if they control the game as much as they can. If they do, then I definitely think Arsenal could keep clean sheets without Mustafi. But they always do seem a little bit fragile as soon as someone like Mustafi or Koscielny is out. What do you think about Morata's injury? I personally think it could be bad for us because it could derail his form. He had a great start to the season, and I kind of didn't want that to stop. So I'm hoping he comes back as in form as he was just before he got injured. Chaos got a wildcard team: Pope, Davies, Maguire, me, Hazard, Coutinho, David Silva, Richarlison, Lukaku, Kane, and Hosselu. I like it. I like it. I think the one I'm worried about would be Hazard. I know that's going to sound silly, but with no striker in front of him, that could either be really good or really bad, and I wouldn't want to take the risk of it not working out. He's not fully match sharp yet. But he is a player that can explode, of course. And if he explodes and you've got him in your side, you're going to be laughing at me next week. I like the defence. Pope is a good choice because I think Pope is quite cheap. And I don't know when Tom Heaton is back. But if Tom Heaton's out for a while, if we have a look at Burnley, Tom Heaton's return date is unknown still. And Hope has racked up 21 points. And fixture-wise, Burnley have West Ham, Man City, Newcastle, Southampton, Swansea. So if you're looking to save some money and don't really know what transfer to make, then yeah, Pope is a great choice as goalkeeper. I'm surprised I hadn't thought of that. You're a step ahead of me, mate. Padful, hey up. Been a while since I've been around to catch a live stream. Thinking Kolasinac out for Otamendi this week. I could see that. Fixture-wise and performance-wise, Man City look very, very good. Arsenal's fixtures take a turn for the worse in a couple of game weeks, whereas Man City look like they could coast through, apart from maybe the Arsenal fixture. But to be honest, the way Man City looked against Chelsea, I'd fancy Man City against Arsenal as well in their current form. So Otamendi could be a very good move. I think as far as defenders go, he's got a decent attempt on goal rate as well as Otamendi. Replacement for Morata if he's injured. I'm personally looking at Jesus because Aguero's injured, and I think that means Jesus is definitely going to play, and his conversion rate is at 23.5%, and I think with Aguero out, Jesus is going to get even more chances. So that's the one my gut feeling is going towards, and I feel like you need some Man City coverage, so that's who I would go with to replace Morata. Is Jones still a good pick despite United's tough fixtures coming up? Would Cedric make a good replacement on a wild card? I don't know. I wouldn't risk Man United with tough fixtures because we've not seen them properly be tested. I've said this before after the Stoke game that I'm not sure about Man United's defence. This next 5 game weeks will prove to me if Man United's defence is legit or not. If they do well in this next 5 game weeks with Liverpool, Tottenham and Chelsea, then I'll take back everything I've said about Jones. But as far as Cedric is concerned, Southampton still have a good run until game week 12. And defensively, Southampton have looked decent. It's just going forward they've looked bad. So Cedric could be a good shout to replace Jones with. But if you have faith in the Man United defence, I think a lot of people are transferring him out, so it could be a good differential. Would it be a good time to use Wildcard? International break is always a good time, but I would plan in an international break to use it right at the beginning, so you could try and take advantage of maybe some price rises and falls. But other than that, I don't see a problem with using it now. But only use it if you feel like you have to use it. I felt like I wasn't doing very well, so game week 4 I used it. No worries, mister, about answering for Courtois. Christensen. How many games has Christensen played? Because he's in the Chelsea defence. I know I've seen him in the starting lineup a couple of times, but it's probably not as much as I'm imagining off the top of my head. 5.5 million. He's only started 3 games, 343 minutes played, so probably not enough, to be fair. It's completely up to you. If you feel like you need those Chelsea clean sheet points, then go for it. But as far as team stats go, how are Chelsea looking compared to everyone else? Okay, so clean sheet record-wise, Chelsea have 3 clean sheets. You have Huddersfield, who have 1 more, and Burnley, who have the same. Southampton have the same. Swansea have the same. Watford, West Bromwich Albion, and West Ham all have the same amount of clean sheets as Chelsea. I'm not suggesting that will continue, of course. Shots conceded inside are Chelsea ridiculously good. They've conceded 50 shots inside the box. That's the same as Huddersfield, West Ham, Newcastle. Newcastle and West Ham have conceded less inside the box, but West Ham's defence is rubbish, to be fair. Shots on target conceded. Only West Brom beat Chelsea, that are a smaller side. Man United, Tottenham and Man City have the least. Man City and Tottenham only conceded 13 shots inside their box so far this season. So if you really feel like you need that Chelsea coverage, then by all means go Courtois. I just don't like putting an expensive goalkeeper in my net, so that's the reason why I haven't looked on it. Batshuayi, I don't feel like Conte trusts Batshuayi, hence why I wouldn't risk it just yet, because I think you could get burned by putting him on your side and then he doesn't start and Hazard starts up top, whereas I think Hazard will start, and so he's probably a safer option. I know you're looking at a cheap way into Chelsea's attack, but I probably wouldn't risk it. Iceland are going to qualify for the World Cup. Opinions? I mean, I don't really have an opinion on that at all. I know that might not be the answer you're looking for, TP, but I like it when teams get into the World Cup that haven't been there before. I wanted Scotland to get into it last night, but it didn't happen. Not that Scotland like English fans that much, but you know what? It would be nice to see him in the World Cup. Not really got much of an opinion on Iceland. As far as that region of the world, I mean, my cousin lives in Denmark, so I do like it when the Danish do well. Is Lacazette not looked at enough? You know what? I think he isn't. I think the problem with him is if you are looking at stats like, you know I do, he doesn't jump out the page. As far as shots on goal, he's 10th in the league with 16. Beaten by the likes of Sturridge, Jesus, Carroll, Rashford, Joselu, Morata, Aguero, Kane and Lukaku. However, his shot accuracy is 50, which is only second... Sorry, I'm looking at... The problem is if you just go by shot accuracy as a percentage, it puts people up there like a Kaka, who only had one game and he had one goal from one attempt, so he's got 100% shot accuracy. But out of the players that have had the most attempts, above him as far as attempts goes, accuracy-wise, only Joselu beats him as far as shot accuracy is concerned. And then Vardy is below him with 14 attempts, and he's got 57.1 shot accuracy. Hernandez has 53.8. Mooney has 55.6, but it's only played 4 games. So shot accuracy is very high for Lacazette, as is goal conversion at 25, only beaten by above him Morata and Aguero, who have had more goal conversion. Below him, that's beaten... Oh, I've lost him. That's beaten 25 is Vardy at 35.7, but that's it. So he's getting less chances, but he's putting them away. And of course, the most important thing is the chances get put away. If you're only getting 10 attempts on goal, but you're scoring 5 of them, someone else is getting 20 attempts on goal and scoring 4, there's a better player there for you, isn't there? So Lacazette, I think, is getting ignored, but I think part of it is because people may be waiting for Sanchez to hit form, aren't sure about how Arsenal's lineup is going to go. Will Giroud play in some games when Wenger thinks he needs a more physical presence up front? But yeah, I do think he's overlooked a bit. I've really not looked at him as much as I probably should have. Sane or Sterling or both? That's from El Walid El Hassan. And who to get rid of, Coutinho or Siggy or Grosh? I think Siggy's one you got to be careful with because he's not impressed me at Everton just yet, although their fixtures have been difficult. So I'd probably say Siggy for now, and then if he starts to hit form, we can always bring him back in. As far as Sane and Sterling, I've always liked Sane more. I'm a bit of a Sterling hater, I'm not going to lie. I don't like Sterling, but I have taken advantage of good form that he's had every now and again. Chances created wise, big chance created by Sane is 4. He's created 9 in total. As far as Sterling, he's created 7 chances, 2 big chances in total. So Sane wins in chance creation. Attempts, Sterling wins with 19 attempts to Sane's... Where on earth is Sane? Sane's only had 10 attempts on goal, which is surprising. I thought he'd had more than that. So Sterling's had more attempts, and he has been on a very good run of form of scoring. But as far as players concerned, I do actually prefer Sane. But Sterling looks like the better choice, taking those stats into account. Okay, Silva or Ali from Ed Guna. Silva. Man City look really, really good at the moment. Man City have the fixtures. And I think also Ali's had a bit of a dry patch. He did get 2 assists recently, but I think Silva's just been very, very consistent. So I'll go Silva. He's cheaper as well. Thoughts on Sermon? It's always awkward when I get asked a question like that and I don't have massive thoughts on the player because they've not really touched my radar. I'm just trying to find Sermon. Alright, there we go. Sermon. Goal attempts he's had 7. Shot accuracy is at 28.6, 14.3 at 4.6 million. Started 6 games. Definitely a decent choice as far as your 5th midfielder. If you're looking for a cheap midfielder at 4.6, it's not going to hurt your side by having him as your 5th midfielder. Scott Kelly brings up a good point. I think if one of them is going to get played as a wing back, it's more likely to be Sane. Sterling or David Silva? I'd say Silva because he's more likely to start. Sterling has missed 1 game, and I think Silva's started all of them. Yeah, Silva started all of them. So I'd probably go Silva just for security of starts. Chicha or Hosselu from FIFA Reviews. Hosselu's got the better underlying stats, but Chicharito is definitely a better striker. Just are West Ham going to give him the amount of chances that he deserves? That's a completely different question. So I don't know. I'd say I want to say Hernandez, but my faith in my own side is pretty slim at the moment. And Newcastle seem to be creating chances with the likes of Matt Ritchie. So I'd maybe look at Hosselu. And then you can spend more on the other 2 strikers or on your midfield. Salah or Ali or Ericsson? I'd say Ericsson because he's got chances created and goal attempts. Then Salah, then Ali at the moment. Salah's shot accuracy and goal conversion isn't as good as I'd like it. If it was even just a little bit better, Salah would maybe win that out of those players. Would you say Lukaku, Richarlison or Firmino and Ericsson? That's difficult. I'd say, because I like Richarlison, but as far as proven players, Firmino and Ericsson's the safer option. But I do really like Richarlison at the moment. I've got 6.4 to spend on a player. Richarlison, Decore look good, but Watford have Arsenal and Chelsea next. The thing is, when you're thinking about it like that, you are assuming Watford won't do anything against Arsenal and Chelsea. And there's always the possibility that they will. And then if they do, you're going to regret not bringing them in. And they're going to be a bigger difference right now against big sides than when they're playing smaller sides. Do I think necessarily they're going to score? Probably not. But hopefully you've got other players in your team that can pick up the slack for 2 game weeks. I think I've answered Sterling or Sane already. I like Sane better, but the stats kind of suggest Sterling. Chaos had the comment that, is that how far behind I am on the comments? I'm sorry to hear you had the cold. Man flu, maybe. Played a lot of FIFA. I've not played any FIFA. I've not been neglecting FPL to play FIFA. Best defender for 5 million or under? Let's have a look, see. Alright, fantasy defenders. We have under 5 million. I kind of like to look at, again, distribution and goal threat. Because if we think they can get clean sheets and then they can get a goal like, say, Ben Davies does, and an assist, they score massive points. So, Cresswell, just recently got in the England side, 11 chances created. That's not bad for 5 million. Holebas, 6 appearances, created 9 chances, not bad for 5 million. Moreno, 5 appearances, 4.5 million, has created 9 chances. Daniels at 4.9, but Bournemouth haven't been getting many clean sheets. Tommy Smith is 5 million. but it's only really created 6 chances. And then as far as goal threat goes, 5 million Cedric has had 10 attempts on goal, 6 from inside the box. So his conversion is poor at the moment, but if he can put a chance away, Southampton aren't too bad for clean sheets. Shane Duffy, I've mentioned before, 7 attempts on goal, 7 from inside the box. Potentially he could do well, but I'm not sure about Brighton's fixture list. Where are Brighton? In fact, Brighton, Everton, West Ham, Southampton, Swansea and Stoke. Maybe you could take a risk on Duffy. That could pay off. Ben Mee at 4.5 million is a very popular choice at the moment. But Stephen Ward has looked very, very good as far as an attacking prospect as well from Burnley. And I think he's under 5 million too. Rudiger, yes or no? I don't know, if you're going for Chelsea defenders, how much is Rudiger? Because I know he scored for Germany, but as far as goal threat goes and points threat goes, 5.9 million. He's cheaper than Azpilicueta. He's definitely cheaper than Alonso. 2 goal attempts though, and he's not going to be really setting up chances. I don't know, if you're just trying to get the clean sheet points, Courtois is cheaper as well. So there's nothing about Rudiger that makes me think you should go with him just yet in the Premier League. Which is a better attack, Joselu, Kane and Jesus, or Jesus, Morata if fit and Vardy? I think Jesus, Morata and Vardy purely... I can't imagine not having Kane though. Joselu isn't as good as Vardy. Vardy's put more chances away with less attempts on goal. But I like Kane, and Jesus is in both. Do I want Kane or Morata? That's the problem with the strikers at the moment. There's a lot of good options. Even with Aguero injured and Morata injured, it's like, do you have Kane, Jesus? Lukaku could still score against big sides. However, he's got a record of not necessarily doing that. And then you've got Lacazette on the fringes, and he probably shouldn't be out of everyone's thought process. But I just can't imagine not having Kane, so I'd have to go Kane, Jesus and Joselu. But that's me. Chaos, I would stick with Hazard now, because I think he will become good eventually. It may not have paid off taking that risk on him early, but at some point, I think he will start to return. So, fingers crossed for you, mate. Fingers crossed. What's up, AM Saturday? How are you? I don't know if you're still even watching. That's how far behind I'm on the chat. Sterling or Silva? Sterling is the one we've gone with. I already answered that one, so I won't go into that too much. Should I keep Dawson? Is that Craig? I'm assuming it's Craig from West Brom. I like Craig Dawson, but I wouldn't necessarily keep him if he's not necessarily doing anything for you. A lot of necessarities there. Where are you getting your stats from, by the way? I'm getting them from Fantasy Football Scout. I've been a member of their site for the last 2 seasons, and this season as well. It is a paid-for membership, though, to get all these stats. It's only a one-off payment, though. You pay at the beginning of the season, and you get it for the whole season. AM Saturday answering some questions for us. Thank you very much, my man. I've got Elliot and Lascelles this week. What's my chances of a clean sheet? Who have Newcastle got? Newcastle's defence don't look bad, and we know Benitez is good for organising teams, and Southampton haven't looked good on the attack. So there's good chance of a clean sheet there, I'd say. Mr. hates Sterling too. Glad I'm not the only one. Football Analysis's team. Foster, Cedric, Alderweireld, Monreal, Fonte, Ritchie, Mkhitaryan, Ali, Jesus, Lukaku, Chicharito, Gomez, Moy, Grosh and Dunk. I like the team. Is there anything I would change necessarily? Not really. Nothing major I'd change there. Maybe Ali for someone else, or Mkhitaryan for someone else because of the fixtures. But they could come good, just because they're not been performing. Sometimes you jump off a bandwagon, like Kevin De Bruyne didn't do well for 3 or 4 game weeks. Everyone jumped ship, and he's been really good since then. Looks like Wales are out of the World Cup. Serbia qualify, Iceland qualify. Is Mose an option with Kante out? I'd be wary of Chelsea. I think their fixtures are good. However, without Kante, we all seen how good a player Kante is. We know how important he is to a side. However, they do have Bakayoko. I don't know if he can fill that role for them until he's back. And they've got Drinkwater who they can bring in, but Kante is a very hard player to replace. I probably won't be keeping Morata. I might be cheekily waiting to see if I hear any news that he's got an early comeback. But I'll probably be transferring him out for Jesus. Is Fantasy Football Scout run by FPL Tips? No, it's not. FPL Tips works with another website called Fantasy Football Fix. Don't know if I don't think he runs it. As far as I'm aware, I think he just works with them. But yeah, that's Fantasy Football Fix that FPL Tips is affiliated with. Fantasy Football Scout do have their own channel where they do streams. So you can check their YouTube channel out. Do you think Yoshida will keep his place? I think eventually he'll lose it. I can't say the Dutch player they brought in, but I think Van Dijk and that other Dutch player will be the first 2 choices. I think it's around 10 quid. It might be 12, it might be 15, something like that, Chaos. I don't watch their stream purely because I don't really get the time to watch that kind of length of a show. Team news is always really helpful. Ben Dinnery on Twitter is a great resource for team news as well. So yeah, I can't recommend Fantasy Football Scout enough. They're probably one of the main reasons I got into fantasy football, because I used them for the World Cup 2014, and with that information I won my mini league, and I've not looked back from there. Should I keep Morata? I would probably take him out. You can wait till closer to game time and then transfer him out if you know which transfer you're going to make, but I'd probably transfer him out. Who should you change Craig Dawson for? I think we looked at defenders. We know Newcastle have a good fixture list at the moment. I think Shane Duffy and Brighton have a good fixture list, and Shane Duffy's been getting chances. Cresswell has been creating chances. Holebas has been creating chances, but they have tough fixtures. Ben Mee and Stephen Ward, and I believe Burnley's fixtures are kind, apart from Man City in Game Week 9. Stephen Ward has done very well so far this season, so he's an option to replace Craig Dawson. Will Morata play against Watford? That's a tough one to call. We don't know necessarily. Yeah, that's the right word. I don't think we have a set date for his comeback. 50% chance of playing, so he could very well play this game week, but I've not heard anything major. I heard at one point that he may even play for Spain. I don't know if that actually came to fruition or not. So I'm waiting until closer to the time to see if I'm taking Morata out. TP, there's no reason to hate against FPL Tips. He's a decent guy. He's got some good content. He's a very, very good Fantasy Premier League player. Okay, TP thinks Yoshida will keep his place. I mean, it all depends. If they're going to replace Van Dijk or let him go eventually, TP's taking the same thought process as I took with Danny Rose. If you talk shit about a team, well, I shouldn't swear. If you talk rubbish about a team, then Do you really want to play him as a manager, the player? If Morata and Kante play against Roma, I worry that they might get rested against Watford if they have knocks and niggles and so on. Chaos is on the Fantasy Premier League Reddit. I've kind of stayed away from there. I don't get very good feedback when I put my videos up on there. And yeah, I often get attacked for my opinion. So I've not been on the Fantasy Football Reddit for a while now. Probably should use it more, because there's lots of people on there that would probably enjoy my content. But yeah. Jeff Holt is in the chat. Patreon in the chat. How you doing, my man? I think you're still, unfortunately, the new Patreon. Sorry about that. Why not Harry Maguire? I mean, Harry Maguire's looked decent at Leicester, but I don't think Leicester's defence are going to get many clean sheets. TP, we can all get advice wrong on Fantasy Premier League. It's hard. It's a hard game to predict. Who am I starting in goal? I have the same decision, leaning towards Elliott. Let's have a look, see, because I think I've already made my choice. I probably would go Elliott, to be fair. I think Leicester have an attack that could score, are more likely to score than Southampton. Sorry, TP, I know you're a Southampton fan, but your attack hasn't been set in the world alight. So I'd go Elliott. You can try promote me on Reddit, AM, but yeah, like I said, it's not always gone that well for me on Reddit, so I've stayed away for a bit. I'm not sure I was 100% welcome there. Did have some fans on there, I'm not going to lie, and it did definitely help me grow at times, but you know what? I'll just leave it for a little bit. Well, thank you, TP. I do try. And Chaos, see you later. Getting a little tired. Have fun with the rest of the stream. See you later, Chaos. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being an admin. And no problem, another hoops. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help as much as I possibly can. Alright, guys. So the questions seem to be drying up. We're 47 minutes in. I'm glad you don't mind if I wouldn't like to call it insulting them, but they have been really bad going forward, haven't they? You can try M, but I'm not 100% sure that will happen. If anyone has a question, ask now or forever hold your peace. Because otherwise I may end the stream. Sterling or Silva? We have asked that already, but we looked at the stats. Sterling is very good going forward, but I prefer Silva just for the security of starts. I know Sterling's only missed one game, but Silva, I believe, has started every single game and has more minutes. If I actually have a look, minutes-wise, Sterling has played 387 minutes, and Silva has played 603. So, not quite double, but a lot more. Have a look at team in near 2 weeks. To be honest, TP, the amount of questions I get on Twitter sometimes affects how much I respond. Sometimes I get a lot of messages on Twitter, and it sometimes gets a bit much. I'm struggling, if I'm honest, to respond to comments, let alone Twitter, which is why I'm kind of trying to do the live streams more, so I can give a full-on answer, because I feel like Twitter is very, very restrictive, and I often go over the character limit when I'm trying to give advice. So I'll probably keep it more to live streams to answer questions. Next stream, if I think about my rota, Thursday potentially. Maybe I might try and fit one in on Wednesday. It'll be Wednesday or Thursday. I just don't know for definite. But I will get another one out. I'm committed to trying to do this more regularly now. Do I think it's a good idea to play 3-5-2? It can be, depending on who your third striker is. You may not have faith in the third striker, But I don't have 5 midfielders I have faith in my team at the moment. Thank you, Kibby, for the much love. Much appreciated. Jeff Holt, if you quickly type your team in, I will give it a look over. If Sterling gets the minutes, he will outperform. It's the worry that he's not getting the minutes. But yeah, if you look at 387 minutes and the amount of points Sterling scored, then imagine he had 600 minutes. But you're definitely right there, Mark. No idea what the lottery numbers are. If I knew the lottery numbers, I'd be vlogging holidays as well as doing FPL live. What? You're making me find your team, Jeff. Because you're a Patreon, mate, I will go to your team and give it a look over. Wow, you are second. Well done. Alright, so we've got Fabianski, Davies, Lascelles, Cresswell, Otamendi, Mkhitaryan, Ali, Salah, Kane, Firmino, Vardy, Elliott, Brady, Carroll, Gomez. Struggling. I mean, I feel like maybe there's... I don't know how much extra you've got to spend. What's your team value? Can I see that? I don't know what I'd change there. You've got 2 Newcastle defenders, which you could maybe take advantage of with the up-and-coming fixture list. I'd say a Man City midfielder or striker might help you if you can work it out. Ali's not been outperforming Eriksen. Mkhitaryan, tough fixtures for Man United. Salah, Liverpool will have tougher fixtures coming up. But that is a pretty good side. I'd try and figure out which Man City player you want in midfield or up front, and then try and work towards that. I think that's all that your team is really missing. Mate, I hope Hereford do well in the FA Cup. I don't know much about Eastleigh, to be honest, compared to Hereford, so I'd much prefer Hereford to win. Batshuayi or Vardy? Vardy. I'm not 100% sure Batshuayi will play all the games while Morata's injured. AM Saturday likes your team, Jeff. I might be a bit worried what he might do with that team in his own private time, now that he knows you're second. Just joking, AM. Anyway, guys, I think we will call it there for the stream. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's always appreciated when you guys jump on the stream and show some support. Much love to you all. Of course, you've got the usual ways you can support the channel in the description. And of course, you've got a super chat and you've got all that stuff with the live streams. But that's all if you want to and you want to help out the channel. There should hopefully tomorrow or Wednesday, we'll see how I feel after this stream, be a My Team Up, so feel free to watch that. It should be out at 4 o'clock either today or tomorrow. And apart from that, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game. And we still have that awkward bit where I've got to go and click stop streaming.